you staring at me? I intimidate your ass. Yeah, you smile because I do.
What's her name?
You had that badge and a gun. That's all you are is that badge.
Are you looking at me? Are you cross-eyed?
He might be cockeyed. Yeah, he is. His eyes a little wonky.
Charlie back. You're leaving in June, right? Are you leaving in June? Hopefully.
Waukesha Wilson. Waukesha Wilson. Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Richard, can I start?
Waukesha Wilson.
Waukesha Wilson.
Morning. Today is Tuesday, May 8th. That's your last warning?
I never had a first.
Yeah. Okay, that's your first warning and that's your second warning. Richards.
Abdullah.
Today's Tuesday, May 8th. It's a regular meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Let the record reflect Commissioner Soboroff, Figueroa Villa, McLean Hill, and Goldsmith are present, and we have a quorum.
Okay, item number one is consent agenda.
All you motherfuckers lied about Waukesha.
Okay.
All you motherfuckers lied.
Okay, if this meeting isn't going to be under control, this is going to be the shortest meeting in the history of the Police Commission. So we're going to take a recess right now. And if we can't keep it under control, then we'll move on. Are we okay to start?
Back. Just wait, hold on. I want to ask you. You're going to mess it up for me. No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. We're in recess.
No, it's all right. We'll be in recess for a second.
Come on, man.
Consent items. Do you have any comments? Any public comments on consent items?
And we have 2 cards for item 1A,
And is that it?
excuse me, 1 card for 1B, 1 card for 1C, and 1 for 1D.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve 1E, F, and G? We have a second? All in favor? Let's hear for 1A. Do we have a public comment on 1A?
Yes, sir. Mr. Herman,
Herman?
followed by Mr. Michael Novick.
Novick?
Well, it appears we got some ground here.
Oh, wait.
Looks like we're receiving a new horse. And due to the fact that the mounted platoon depends on deployable horses, sometimes horses can be used as excessive force against the public. And so, for the record, let me make sure that I put this case number 117CV00099, JKB Document 1, how the police department and local authorities deal with using increased monies for allowing working horses in the field for the Metropolitan Division Mounted Platoon. But I was at the Metro meeting. There was no discussion about mounted police horses for Metro. Why do we have to have horses in the field to do the work of maybe one police officer? Why are officers engaging in inappropriate conduct with children still? That's where the importance of a police officer is more valuable than a horse. So going to that, the board's action appears that there was no public comment on that. And also that the department's report, likely through Mr. Richard T. Fank, accepted the donation. You know, Mr. T. Fank is well known for accepting donations, you know. That was part of the reason why I had that discussion about the restaurant up in Van Nuys dealing with those sexual misconducts for lap dances a couple of months ago before I was denied public access to this meeting. And so, once again, the department's report dated April 27, 2018 reflects a negative declaration on my behalf and that of the public.
Thanks. Next.
Yeah, I want to speak in opposition to this agenda item, accepting the donation of a horse valued $9,000. I point out again that there's more than $23,000 in donations to the LAPD this week alone. I urge the Police Commission to suggest to the William H. Parker Foundation, named for a notorious racist, that it dissolve itself and give its funds to some other nonprofit organization that could benefit the community. Money donated to the LAPD on top of the more than 50% of the city budget that you already spend is money wasted. The horse division, I think, increases the cowboy mentality of the LAPD. The horses are used primarily for crowd control and intimidating people at demonstrations and protests, and I think that it's money ill spent. So I would urge the board to reject this donation and urge all the people donating money to the LAPD to spend their money better on community service and projects that would enable people to avoid criminalization by the Los Angeles Police Department.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion for approval of item 1A. All in favor? Aye. Okay, 1B, the comments on 1B. I think there's one comment on 1B.
No, sir, there are two, one
Okay.
from Mr. Herman and Mr. Michael Novick.
Mr. Herman?
Well, here goes some discrepancy funding for nonviolence, valued at $5,000 for the Los Angeles Police Foundation. How does it benefit the community? Well, earlier you heard that individuals, and I support them, that, you know, the incident regarding Waukesha Wilson is a very strong subject to talk about. So I'm going to waive my time on item B now and allow us to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me. Next speaker. Oh, Mr. Novak.
Yeah. So in addition to the previous comments I made about the general amount of money going in, this is from the LA Police Foundation, which, as we've discussed previously, has a conflict of interest with the board chair of the LA Police Commission. It's for the benefit of the Community Relationship Division of the LAPD, which inherently is not a nonviolent organization, because, as I've repeatedly informed you, the whole concept of community-oriented policing is defined by the people who push it within the police field as the domestic equivalent of psychological operations in the military. It's about trying to control the population, the thinking of the population, or the so-called enemy. I also want to point out that the ancient Indian philosophy of nonviolence, while it would certainly be beneficial for the Los Angeles Police Department to embrace nonviolence, that Gandhi, unfortunately, was a stone racist. He developed part of his philosophy while in South Africa because he objected to the fact that people of Indian descent were being treated like the Africans in South Africa by the white supremacist apartheid government. So I think that everything that the LAPD does is tainted by racism because it's institutionally and internally white supremacist organization founded on and upholding a system of white supremacy. And everything that it does reflects that. And this donation, while it sounds like something beneficial, is in fact part and parcel of that same problem.
A motion for approval for item number 1B, please. And I second the second or whatever it was, but anyway. All those in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, let's go to item number 1C. Coffee maker.
We have one card from Mr. Herman.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. Second, all in favor? Aye. And was there a comment on D?
Also from Mr. Herman.
Mr.
sir.
Herman, D? This is regarding $100 for child passenger safety certification.
Yeah, I think it's time for LAPD to stop accepting donations because there's quite a difference of a conflict of problems with that. You know, it's who you pay to play, it's who you take away from in the community, as brought out by the prior speaker, as he brought out that, you know, this money, any monies used by LAPD of donations shouldn't come to this
Off
commission.
topic, this is about $100 to be used to reimburse for child passenger safety
Right.
certification.
And
fee.
the
So you're
cons-
off
and the
topic.
concern with child passenger safety recertification is that we don't have enough officers who are certified to verify whether or not passenger safety seats for children are safe. Matter of fact, in the news this weekend, there was a 15-year-old involved with an LAPD police officer. Now that's my concern. More important to this reflection of declaring a child passenger safety. The problem is cadet and children's safety along and among the police department as to why police keep fucking children.
Motion for approval? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, let's go on to item number, regular agenda items. We're on 2A. Are there any commissioner comments on 2A? Are there any public comments on 2A?
Yes, sir. One from Mr. Herman.
Mr. Herman?
Why do we offer rewards? What do we gain from offering rewards? Are we making a statement that it's okay to harm another life in the city of Los Angeles? Is it okay for us to approve measly $25,000, $50,000 in reward? Because the city of Los Angeles, Herman Jason Wesson, a.k.a. Herbie, is good at that. The same way he was good at saying that Encino critic Wayne Spindler was a threat. And how does the reward offer help us understand this? Well, one is you've taken away from Mr. Spindler his right of the Second Amendment.
Mr. President, the speaker's off topic.
I'm getting there. Hold on, Mr. T. Fink. I know you like the spearmint rhino. This is not a part of the spearmint rhino.
Okay, off topic again. That's the end of this one. Okay, we have a motion for approval for 2A. Do we have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Number B, item B was continued from May 24th, Department's report regarding Tactics Training Review Committee. Are there questions of the commission on this or any? Okay. Are there any public comments on this item?
Yes, sir. We have two, one from Mr. Herman and one from Mr. Michael Novick.
Mr. Herman?
Well, we definitely need training. This incident regarding the life of Waukesha Wilson and the strangling in that jail is a concern of how excessive force and the tactics of police officers or the training is inadequate. And you're going to hear a lot more from the public about that. So I'm going to waive the remaining of my balance to go forward with the
Okay,
concerns
thank
of
you.
Waukesha Wilson.
Next speaker, please.
I'll be brief again. I think the fact that you have a tactics training and review committee report from the department relates to the fact that the LAPD is a paramilitary organization. That's why you have tactics and strategies for paramilitary operations. And I think that, week after week you go through here and you get department reports and you approve them with your rubber stamp. All in favor say aye. And you say aye without really ever examining what the content of those reports are in depth to understand what it says about the nature of the police department you're supposed to oversee. So I just want to point that out. Also, you have some kind of error because if you continue this from May 24th, 2018, that's in the future.
It's true. Thank you. We'll correct that. Do we have a motion for approval with a modification of when it was continued?
It was April 24th.
Oh, April 24th. Okay, 2B. Okay. We have a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Item number 2C is the department's report regarding the revolving training fund budget for fiscal 2018-2019 is set forth. Do we have any commissioner comments? Do we have any public comments on this issue?
None, sir.
May we have a motion for approval? Good. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Let's go to item number 3, report of the Chief of Police. Before we start that, Chief, Mr. Teefank, will you give a update regarding the Commission's activities regarding the search for the next chief?
Yes, Mr. President, the Commission has completed the interviews of the highly qualified candidates and has transmitted to the mayor in accordance with the charter the top 3 names of those candidates. Now the process rests with the mayor, and he will complete the process in accordance with the charter, and that concludes the report.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, Commission. A couple of things to comment on today besides the crime statistics. First, this past week, I've attended several graduations, and there's several more this week, as it is that time of year. This past week, we had a magnet school graduation, which is the 4 high schools in LA Unified School District that have a magnet program for young people interested in law enforcement. 124 cadets graduated from that program at the Los Angeles Police Department's Academy. We also had our cadet graduation at USC Galen Center. That was on Saturday. Almost 500 cadets graduated from that program. This upcoming Friday, we have a recruit graduation at Los Angeles Police Academy, and I'll also be attending SC's graduation ceremonies at USC. This past Sunday, we had a categorical use of force in Newton Division, where patrol officers responded to a 911 call from the public regarding a trespassing or prowling suspect. They made contact with the suspect. The suspect was highly agitated, did not comply with officers' commands.
Okay, you're going to have an opportunity to speak during public comment, but this isn't public comment. You'll have an opportunity to speak whenever you turn in a speaker card, but let's let the chief finish. Mr. Richards,
Continue.
just a second.
I'm sorry, Commissioner, you done?
Yeah.
Good.
Go ahead, Chief.
Less lethal munitions were deployed, beanbag shotgun rounds, as well as taser deployment. The suspect was taken into custody after that. He passed away while in police custody. We are still looking at the circumstances, pending the coroner's report and autopsy. This will be the first use of force that falls under the new policy as voted by the Commission regarding release of information. So within 45 days of Sunday, the department will prepare a presentation that will be released to the public that will include some of the body-worn video, in-car video, and as much investigative material as has been compiled up to that time point.
I'm gonna. That's your final warning. I don't really know your name, and I can't see because the picture's blocking.
Tardy, it's me, and knows my name.
Ms. Richards, you've had your final warning. I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting now. I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting.
Why? What'd she do? She can talk? She can't talk? Dang.
I can't talk.
No, you can't. You cannot disrupt the meeting. Thank you.
Going to.
Okay?
Oh, let me grab my bag. Don't fucking touch me. Don't get next to me. I don't give a fuck. I ain't scared. Let's go. Man, shut up. You touch me, it's on. I swear to God. You touch me, it's on.
That's Waukesha.
I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting.
I am.
I'm-
That's Waukesha.
Officer.
She's gonna
Officer.
stay with you.
Take her into custody.
You gonna take her in custody? You gonna take her into custody when you lie?
I'm going to ask you to leave the meeting.
Right there. You lie.
This meeting is recessed. I'd like to clear the room, please. We're going to clear the room. Okay, we're back in session. We've cleared the room. We're going to adjourn this meeting based on the battery on the chief and what's going to be going on in the room. So this meeting, I have a motion for approval for adjournment.
Move to adjourn. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting's adjourned.
Excellent. Cut, print, we're moving on. Hi, I'm Shane Woodson on the set of Cain and Abel here in Hollywood. You're watching LA City View, Channel 35. Our city, our channel. Okay, I need my actors back on set, back in position.